Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video I will be talking to you guys about slow motion. What is slow motion, how you can capture slow motion, how you edit slow motion, and how you can use slow motion to boost the storytelling of your videos. I'm Chevaughn Beckford, and let's dive right into this video with no delay. What is slow motion? Well, slow motion is motion in slow. Slow motion is the showing or preview of a video in a speed slower than it was made or recorded. Or slow motion is slowing down something than it would be in real life or naturally. Oh yeah, so I know what slow motion is now, but how can slow motion improve my videos? Well, slow motion can boost the creativity and the storytelling of your film or video. It can also boost the cinematic feeling of your video, give it more life, more smooth and more Hollywood type of vibe, if you get what I mean. So a simpler and easier explanation is that slow motion will make your videos darn cool. But how do I shoot slow motion? That's easy. All you need to start shooting slow motion is a device that is able to capture frame rates of higher than 24 frames per second, which is the natural frame rate. Along with the device you will be using to capture the frame rate higher than 24 frames per second, the next thing you will need is a subject in which you want to capture the slow motion of. Then you will need your creativity to tell a story or to make a nice cinematic video. You can even get more creative by using a gimbal or a tripod to stabilize your shots while doing slow motion, even though slowing down your shots will make them more smooth than they were in their natural frame rate. Now, why would I want to shoot at a higher frame rate than 24 frames per second, you might ask? Because you will be slowing down these higher frame rates down to 24 frames per second. Take 30 frames per second for instance. You will slow that down to 80% of its natural playback speed, which will give you a semi-smooth kind of slow motion. It's not really slow, but it's slower than the regular 24 frames per second. The other one is 60 frames per second, which you can slow down to 40%, which will give you a nice and in-between smooth buttery slow motion. Then you can go up to 120 frames per second, which you can slow down to 20%, which is very nice. That is very slow. That is lovely slow motion. And I know some Panasonic cameras offer 180 frames per second, which you can slow all the way down to give some buttery smooth slow motion, very slow footages. I know Sony cameras go all the way up to 240 frames per second. You also have unconventional frame rates, or I call them unconventional. I don't think they're really unconventional frame rates, such as 50 frames per second, 80 frames per second, 35 frames per second, you name it. They exist. I don't think they're really conventional, but I will mention the main ones, such as 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and 120 frames per second. How do you edit slow motion footage? Well, once you capture this slow motion footage and drop it into your video editing software, you can edit the playback speed of your footage by tweaking the speed duration of the playback or doing a time remapping or a time ramp of your footages. The speed and duration is where you type in the percentage in which you want to slow that video down. Let's say you have a 60 frames per second shot, you can change the speed and duration to 40%, and that speed will be slowed down to 24%, which is 40% of the natural 60 frames per second playback speed. Or you can toggle with the speed ramp, where you tweak the video to various parts where it doesn't really go down to a set percentage, but it may vary along the timeline. So here you might have 24, here you have 30, and then up here you have the natural 60 frames per second. So that's a time ramp, it fluctuates. The major software which I know can be used to alter the speed of your videos are Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, and DaVinci Resolve. There are others out there, but those are the three main ones which I use to slow down my videos. As it relates to equipment to shoot slow motion videos, almost every camera nowadays at least offers 60 frames per second in video capturing. Even your smartphone can capture up to 60 frames per second in 4K resolution. So you can start shooting slow motion from even your smartphone. I know Samsung and iPhones have a built-in slow motion feature where you just tap slow motion and it will automatically slow down your videos for you. Some cameras like Panasonic and Sony have a built-in slow and quick mode where you can select the slow and quick mode knob and you can tune your slow motion to how slow you want it, whether you want the 60 frame slowdown, the 30 frame slowdown, the 120 frame slowdown, 180 frames per second slowdown, or the 240 frames per second slowdown, which I know the Sony a7S III offers. So it's all up to you and the resource you have at hand. Now when you're exporting slow motion video from your video editing software, ensure that you export in a 24 frames per second timeline sequence or you won't get the slow motion, smooth footage you need from your shots. A point to note when shooting slow motion videos as well in cameras using manual mode, always double your frames per second with the shutter speed. So if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, you should use a shutter speed of 50. If you're shooting at 30 frames per second, you should use a shutter speed of 60. If you're shooting at 60 frames per second, you should use a shutter speed of 120. And you get the idea of where this is going. Before I end this quick video guys, here are some videos which I used the Panasonic Lumix S5 to capture using the S&Q mode built into the camera. This is an easy step in which I don't have to edit these slow-mo videos on my PC using Premiere Pro. I can create them in slow-mo directly from the camera using the S&Q mode built into most Panasonic Lumix cameras. I hope you guys enjoy these shots. That's it for this video guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit the like button if you liked it. Hit the subscribe button if you loved it. You can let me know in the comments if you want to learn more about slow motion and how you guys can capture some smooth and buttery slow motion videos to improve the quality and storytelling and also creativity of your shots. I'm Chevaughn Beckford. Peace out.